Well, today in Russia, the Russians are celebrating a big holiday, and to thoroughly intimidate the world and once again remind everyone of Russia's overwhelming greatness. To deliver the words of the year on Russia Day, they needed the long dead and insane academician Zababakhin from 1917. Zababakhin is an interesting character. He became involved in the nuclear saga solely thanks to his striking last name. But he really did have some connection to the research and even ran to get beer for Kurchatov himself 3 times. But as it turned out, Zababakhin has died. He was cleverly replaced by some Zababakhinite from the corresponding nuclear center named after Zababakhin. And so the Zababakhinite, on behalf of and by order of the late Zababakhin, congratulated the Kremlin patient Putin, who, as we know, is obsessed with Zababakhivny, blowing things up. And, well, just before the Kremlin ceremony, through complex procedures, they managed to restore the living Zababakhinite's speech and consciousness for about 20 minutes. That was enough. There. That academic mumbled something about the nuclear shield, the technology for which was so successfully stolen back in the day from the Americans, who had let their guard down after their victory in World War II. Well, of course, without that historic theft of technology and blueprints that allowed the USSR to create its own bomb, without that theft, Russia would never have managed to become, a plague and a threat to humanity. And I suspect that, well, that theft it really did happen, but it wasn't exactly a theft. It was more the result of naivety, delusion, and romanticism, first of all, on the part of the Rosenbergs and a few other individuals who believed that the Soviet Union should possess nuclear secrets. But I suspect that, depriving. Russia of nuclear weapons will also be a very fascinating and challenging quest. Right now, Russia is proud, like the plague. Before Hafkin's invention of the anti-plague serum, it reminds the world of the terror the world ought to feel. The world should tremble. We all understand, we know that this painful desire to appear great, to remind everyone of its greatness, to endlessly harp on about this greatness all of this is a profound national inferiority complex rooted in a lag behind world civilization, a lag of 700 years, and in the absolute secondariness of Russian culture and Russian science, which were entirely borrowed from and copied after the West. And, well, in general, it's clear here that any of Kellogg's plans, any of Kellogg's ideas to bring Russia back into civilized society, first of all, Russia doesn't want that. It's much more comfortable in its own cave-like forms. And the civilized West doesn't need it either, as it has already understood what Russia is.